Hello guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. My name is Zion and you guys are the understanders. Now in today's video I'm gonna talk about why Dana White, the UFC president, is a fucking jackass and a moron and a dumb fuck and everything bad. And first of all, I might say a lot of out of pocket things in this video, and I might say like a lot of like big words in this video. So, DanaWhite, please don't sue me. Please. I don't know. I'm just pissed today. If you ask me, oh, why you are pissed? I am pissed because first I'm playing this God of War Ghost of Sparta game for 6 hours straight and I'm still not able to complete it. I'm stuck at the Vortex mission, whereas the boat and the enemies keep spawning and they never stop spawning, and it's unlimited enemies, and I don't know how to complete it. So it's crazy. And another reason why I'm so pissed right now is because I was supporting Israel Adesanya to win against Dricus de Plusus. I don't know how to pronounce his name. And Israel Adesanya fucking lost. Israel Adesanya got submitted by anyways. Uh, so that's why I'm pissed. So I might say a lot of out of pocket shit on this video, and I'm so tired, honestly. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I'm very tired. Anyways, uh, so why DanaWhite sucks? Because DanaWhite is the most ignorant little piece of shit I've ever seen. This guy says, this guy says that he doesn't do gimmick fights and he only does real fights. When this guy's literally the owner of Power Slam. This guy's the most hypocritical piece of shit I've ever seen. This guy says, "Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna do these YouTubers fights. I'm not gonna do influencer fights because these are gimmick fights. But I'm gonna do Power Slam, and that's not a gimmick fight at all. Like what the fuck?" And Dana White says, "Oh, Jake Paul fights old man, da da da." When in UFC, it's very normal for a young fighter to fight old fighters. For example, from the old age of UFC, when Rampage Jackson defeated old Chuck Liddell, and it was fine when Israel Adesanya, UFC's favorite, defeated old Anderson Silva. It's fine, but when Jake Paul fights old Anderson Silva, Jake Paul is wrong. But when Israel Adesanya fights old Anderson Silva, oh, it's fine because it's our company. And like, what the fuck is this hypocritical shit, you know? Like, what is this, Dana White? Like, be a better man, you fucking idiot. Anyways, I'm fucking pissed, so I might say a lot of shit. And this guy says he loves UFC. This guy says he loves MMA fighters. He loves MMA in general. But this guy is the same guy who fucking doesn't pay his MMA fighters what they deserve. Average MMA fighters gets $12,000 per fight. That's nothing, and out of the $12,000, almost $6,000 is with like the gym membership, the coaches payment, hospital fees, and are done, and they only have 6,000 left to fucking live. Like, that is even worse than a 9 to 5 job. Like, a 9 to 5 job is much better than this. It's crazy, like how Dana White is a fucking bitch, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh nah, if you defend Dana White, you hate MMA because this guy's ruining MMA." Let's be honest, this guy ain't paying MMA fighters what they deserve. These MMA fighters literally risking their fucking life. These MMA fighters literally are risking their entire life, risking their health to fight for this bitch ass, and this bitch ass won't even pay them like $50,000. They gotta pay him $12,000, and out of the $12,000, they only have 6,000. Like, how can anybody live with $6,000? It's so frustrating, dude. It's honestly so frustrating, and the fact only Jake Paul is fighting against this because everybody else is very scared to say anything about it. It says about our world. Like, I'm gonna fucking say, because I'm gonna say anything like which is right. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be with the right thing. I'm not gonna be with the wrong. MMA fighters are the most bravest people in the world. Like, they deserve the most respect. Like fighting is one of the most hardest thing to do, because it's fucking is burns you out throughout the training, and in fight you get so injured and you get so dehydrated. It's crazy, and the fighters still fight for their life. And I am a boxer, so I know how hard it is to train, and what even harder to fight. And you're gonna pay these fighters $12,000 per fight? Are you fucking kidding me, Dana White? Like, come on, man. Anybody who defends Dana White hates MMA, because he's not treating MMA fighters right. That's not the way you treat MMA fighters or people. Like, MMA fighters have the hardest job in the world, and they're not getting paid shit. Like, they're not getting paid shit. They have the hardest job in the world, and they're being taken advantage of. They don't even realize, and all the MMA fighters are brainwashed because Dana White made them think like, oh, your payment is perfect. You are paid the perfect. Dana White says, oh, I paid these MMA fighters the most. Nobody pays them this much. That's not true. That's not true. You don't pay these MMA fighters the most they deserve. That's not true though. You can say this shit and without proof. Okay, what's the proof? Like, I'm just asking for proof. Like, what's the proof that you give MMA fighters what they deserve? So why in boxing? Uh, why in boxing, amateur fighters get more than pro? Okay, why in boxing? Why amateur boxers get paid more than professional MMA fighters? Tell me why. It's crazy how underpaid UFC fighters are. An amateur boxer gets paid more than a professional UFC fighter. And let's see the net worth between the heavyweight champion in boxing and the heavyweight champion in UFC. Okay, so in UFC, the heavyweight champion of the world, which is Francis Ngannou, his net worth is $600,000. And in other hand, the heavyweight champion of the world in boxing, Tyson Fury's net worth is $40 million. You see the difference? Where's the $600,000 and where is $40 million? And they both are heavyweight champions in their sport. It's sad. Like, heavyweight champion in MMA doesn't even get to be a millionaire, and amateur footballers gets to be a millionaire. It's so fucking stupid. Dana White gets to like manipulate the whole market because he's like the boss of UFC, and MMA is like a very short sport. If you don't know what I mean, like, there are not much companies in MMA. For example, in football there are multiple football clubs. In boxing there are multiple boxing promotions. But in MMA there aren't much MMA promotions. Like if you disagree, then name me 10 MMA promotions. I bet you can't. You can name like 3-4: Bellator, UFC. I can only name like 2: Bellator and UFC, and you can name probably 3. So there are not much MMA promotions. So that's why the UFC takes the whole market share of the MMA. So that's why the UFC can fucking boss up the fighters, and they can say, oh, I'm gonna pay you however I want, because you have no options. Because when there's no options, you can like do anything. Because if there's no options, then you can do anything. Like, you can control the market, and they're smart. I'm gonna give him that. Dana White is incredibly smart. That his business ideas are so fucking smart. I would argue that he's smarter than Bill Gates. That's why he's like a billionaire. I'm not doubting his smartness, but I'm saying he's a piece of shit. He doesn't pay his fighters, and like the fighters are the reason why you are up here. And like his fighters are so delusional, it's so crazy. I remember one time, what's his name? I think Tony Ferguson. He was saying that, oh, we MMA fighters don't do the shit. Dana White does all the stops. Dana White is on the stress. Dana White keeps up with all the business, so he deserves to get that much. I'm like, dude, you're brainwashed. Dude, you're fucking brainwashed, and you don't even know that. Like, it's honestly so sad. These people are so brainwashed, they don't know what's wrong and what's right. And like UFC is like taking advantage of these people. It's so sad, honestly. uh, Dana White is a piece of shit, and I think everybody knows that. Dana White should be cancelled. Like, this person needs to cancel. It should be like, it's social media, so everybody should say that if Dana White doesn't move the $12,000 starting UFC price, so UFC salary, to at least $25,000 a fight, then we are not gonna watch UFC, because you ain't gonna like treat the MMA fighters like that. You gotta pay them much, and yeah, like UFC takes 90% of the pay-per-view shares, and they give only 10% to the fighters. Like, what the fuck is that? In other sport it's like 50-50, and in UFC they take 90% and give only 10%. And after all, if you still defending UFC, you are a fucking piece of shit. You're a fucking piece of shit if you're still defending UFC. You hate MMA fighters, you hate MMA, you are the scum of the earth, and you fucking suck, dude. You fucking suck. Like, it's so enraging, honestly. Fuck Dana White. So thanks for watching this video. Watch my old videos, watch my new videos. I make cool videos like this. And as always, Dana White fucking sucks. Dana White, I'm not gonna stop hating you until you pay the fighters more. You talk shit about Jake Paul and his promotions, but you give your fighters $12,000 a fight, and Jake Paul gives his fighters $1 million per fight. That's the difference between you and Jake Paul. And you earn way more than Jake Paul, so you can say that, oh, Jake Paul earns more. You earn more than Jake Paul, but Jake Paul still pays his fighter way more than yours. So you should know what's up. You're a scam artist, dude. You're a scam artist. You deserve to be in hell. You are destroying MMA. You're destroying MMA fighters' future. It's not cool. It's not cool that you're doing this to MMA. Every UFC fan, every MMA fighter should hate Dana White until he at least have the starting UFC salary to $25,000. And that's it. Thanks for watching this video. Stay healthy, stay happy, and bye bye.